Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Final Whistle. Kevin Walsh alongside David Giacomino, as always. We are here one day after the Kansas City Royals have been crowned the World Series champions. They just beat the New York Mets, took them 5 games. And obviously, we all know who where Dave's heart lies and everything, and understandable. All the credit in the world to the Mets for getting there. They weren't supposed to be in the playoffs, and then when they got there, they weren't supposed to go anywhere. This team made it to the World Series. They represented the National League, and they did an amazing job considering to the youth on this team. In my opinion, they just faced a better team in the Kansas City Royals. So to start it off, kind of capture the season as a whole, just how it feels after watching that season.
You have to have positive thoughts after the season. As you said, nobody expected them to be there. They made the big trade to acquire Cespedes. They did what needed to be done at the deadline to improve the offense, because that was the one weak link all year. The starting pitching has been there all year in playoffs. It's been there. They needed a bat, and they went and got it. And they're gonna have the starting pitching for a couple more seasons, and this is just the beginning of how good they can really be. And they have Zach Wheeler coming back next year. It's going to be rough, process coming back from Tommy John, but he's going to be back. There's good things coming.
Now, there is something that I really want to talk about. I've been talking to myself because, you weren't answering last night, so I have to talk to myself sometimes. I've never in my life, in all my 20 years of watching baseball, ever thought about a team's defensive abilities. Ever. This series opened my eyes so much to how valuable their pitching is, because not only is their pitching supposed to only give up 2-3 runs max, because that's just what they do, but they're all such strikeout pitchers, and it takes away the liability that all of these defenders. Darno couldn't throw me out. Flores, the whole first half of the year, couldn't field the baseball. Daniel Murphy's more concerned with chapstick than fielding. Duda does not a bad job at first base. David Wright, sometimes, the age does look like it's there. Granderson can't throw the baseball. Lagares needs Tommy John. So many defensive liabilities out there. I've never, ever thought about a team's defense, but this team needs help in a lot of ways, and one of them is actually defense. I'll ask you pitching perspective, because you were a pitcher, obviously. You pitched all the way up into high school. Would have pitched at Iona. Unfortunately, the TJ surgery got to you as well. Have you ever gone out on the mound and said to yourself, I need to strike this guy out because the defense behind me isn't that good? How is your defense? I'm just curious about the mindset that maybe has for certain pitchers.
You definitely have that mindset sometimes that, if the defense is making some errors, I got to pick my guy up. I got to get a strikeout here. Or, I'd say in the Mets instance, the Mets aren't the best defensively. I need to get this guy out. I need to strike him out. There's definitely that mindset.
The thing, too, is I don't even think it's the thing of ball hit the short, misplayed. Oh, man, this guy's killing me. I just feel like the Mets take the mound, 0-0 ball game, first inning, and they're saying to themselves, oh, gosh. You know what I mean? It really never settled in, but I think that should have been, it might from now on be a key talking point when you start to really look at certain matchups come playoff time. How is that team's defense? I think that's now something to look at.
And I think a lot of teams are going to take a look at what the Royals have done. They have a strong bullpen, great defensively, and model themselves around it. And I think that's a good way to start your team up. And there's been a story all year for the Mets. There's been so many ground balls and double plays should be turned, and they're just not. And and they've let up countless amount of runs. And
the deciding, really the deciding play of everything comes on the fact of, one, Granderson doesn't have a chance to get the ball over to third to stop Hosmer from advancing there. That ball got through, and everyone knew that's where he was ending up. And then it comes also to the fact too that, and it's unfortunate, but Duda just could not make a good throw.
Hosmer was dead at home. If there's a throw, like even Darno, if he was catching the ball, he was dead. And
I thought it personally to me felt a little bit closer than what people were saying.
No.
But I do think that a good throw gets him out.
Oh, he would have been waiting for them at home. A good throw, he's waiting for him to come up to the plate. And credit to Hosmer, he made him make a play, and he didn't make the play.
Crumbled under it.
Yeah,
for sure.
And you have to look at it as, Familia he's been dominant, and these blown saves the last 2 days are not his fault at all. Yesterday,
right.
He didn't even up a hit yesterday.
Tough to handle.
Tough. And He's probably saying to himself, how many chances are you going to get to have a good, clean hit against this guy? So let's make them make a play and force the issue here, and that's what he did, and it worked out for them.
Now, we have to talk about this as well. This was the last time you actually were talking to me with the whole Harvey decision. And Terry Collins in his mind said Familia's coming in this game, and Familia's going to close this game out for me. Harvey comes up to him, no, you're not taking me out. You're not taking me out. Now, I like that he brought Matt Harvey out. To me, that is the right decision. I do not question that. The one thing that I don't like, and I think that this is why Terry Collins is going to receive some scrutiny, and I'll take your opinion on the whole thing as well. I don't like that Terry Collins originally was going to Familia and then allowed his player to talk him down. I don't like that because I don't understand. To me, it has to be a concrete decision from Terry. That's the one thing that kind of bothered me. I preferred Harvey to be out there. If he didn't throw Harvey out there, I understood it because Familia has been so amazing all season long. I understand that. But I don't like that he was kind of saying, no, he's done. And then Harvey kind of says, I need to go back out there. I understand that maybe Harvey, then Terry kind of looked at him and said, all right, this kid's going to go win me a ball game. I understand that, but I personally, that is the one thing I will fault Terry on, is I think that Terry should have made his decision and then stuck with it. Not the fact that he brought Harvey out. Not that Harvey went out there, gave up a walk. I mean, come on, he gave up a walk. It's a waste of time then to send him out there and give up a walk. None of that is the issue. I don't like that he ended up second-guessing himself.
Look, this is not something new that's happened. Look, when you're the team's ace, with a lot of people see Matt Harvey as the ace, him and DeGrom, that's another debate. But when you have a pitcher like that, he's got more leeway to do things like this. So let's say if he's a 3 or 4 guy, he's a young kid.
No, yeah. Steven Matz isn't telling anyone
absolutely
that he's
not.
got the ball.
And I think Harvey's earned that, trust from his manager, that he's got the mindset, all right, you're not taking me out. Let me go at least start the inning. And I think that's why Terry Collins said, all right, you know what? You got it. I'm going to give it to you. And when he sent Dan Worthen over, and he went over to Terry and said, no, you're not taking me out. And Terry said, no, I'm taking you out. He goes, no, I'm not allowing you to take me out of this game. And, you have to like that from your player. You don't want to.
See, and I love it from Harvey. It's something that me and you spoke about before we even saw him do that. We knew that was the type of pitcher that Harvey was. It was also part of the reason why the whole pitching inning limit saga was so confusing, because we knew that Harvey kind of wanted the baseball. My one problem with the whole thing is that Terry had a decision and switched the decision.
That's not. I don't have an issue with that, because we've seen countless amount of times. I can go back in history with the Yankees, and Joe Torre. For one instance comes to mind. Joe Torre starting to come out. Mike Mussina's on the mound. Mike Mussina points at him. He says, "Get back in the dugout." Joe Torre goes, "Okay, I'll trust my guy." You know what? I don't have a problem with that so much.
No, listen, and to me, I have no problem with you saying that. I think that it's fine. That it's just, to me, I'm standing there, and before I even saw Matt Harvey go, oh no way, I'm mentally saying, you gotta send Harvey back out there.
Absolutely,
you have to.
Everybody was saying he has to go back out there.
I wonder too what that could have maybe done for Harvey's mindset in a way.
No.
I'm just saying, I'm not adding any excuses. What I'm saying is that it adds an extra element that didn't need to be there. That's the one thing I dislike. But it is what it is. Moving forward now, because right now we're giving you a recap, but we got to preview next season too. Even though the season ended yesterday, there's a lot of stuff to talk about with this Mets team. As young as they are, it still feels like a team that maybe just isn't going to be always in the World Series, or even maybe always in the playoffs. You never know really with this team. Daniel Murphy, Yoenis Cespedes, both the two big free agent signings. Cespedes got them to the playoffs. Murphy gets them to the World Series. Neither one of them showed up, though, past those points. Cespedes was non-existent in the playoffs, and Murphy, to be honest, was non-existent in the World Series. Bigger leeway to Murphy because, at least he showed up against, what he did for them against Dodgers and Cubs. You can't say enough. But do the Mets need these guys back? Do they let these guys walk? What should be their approach with these two baseball players?
If you're asking me who they have a better chance of keeping, I say Murphy, because Cespedes, he's attractive free agent because he doesn't need to be given up a draft pick for. Teams are going to go out more likely to go after him. The Cespedes is going to get a lot of money, a lot of people saw the kind of player he was, and he was kind of a lazy player. You see him like make a botch error in the outfield, and he just jogs to the ball. So I don't know if I had to pick one that I think they're more likely to keep, it's Murphy, because if they give him a qualifying offer, 1-year deal, let's say $15 million, and he accepts
But
it.
should they? Should they? I think that to me, I think is the question, because the Mets, the pockets are deep enough to keep. They could keep both.
Yeah,
it's possible. But should they?
I don't think they should.
I have to agree, to be honest.
I don't think they should, because they got Dilson Herrera coming up. Yes, he's unproven, but he's a young, exciting player. He's a lot better defensively.
And you don't want to really lock Murphy up. I feel.
And I think Murphy's a DH. I do.
He's a tough DH.
Yeah,
he's a DH on the right baseball team.
Because you want to have DH have a lot of power, but Murphy's not going to bring you power. But
he like, I remember you saying this to me, and it still sticks with me. The Astros could use a guy that doesn't only know how to hit home runs or strike out. Murphy actually could be plugged into that lineup.
That's what. Yeah.
Play DH and hit 290. And still, that's not the biggest of ballparks. He can still pump out 15.
Yeah.
Maybe the power is more than what we realize. Maybe he does hit 20, but he's going to hit 290. And that's something that an Astros lineup could use. Also, you take a guy with now playoff experience on that young Astros lineup. That could be a good fit for Mr. Murphy.
Yeah.
I think that is a potential landing spot. Yoenis Cespedes could go anywhere.
He can go anywhere he wants.
As much as he didn't show up in the playoffs, Yoenis Cespedes is a very, very good baseball player.
He's still going to take the top dollar. He might have lost a little.
Yeah, a little bit of money
from the playoffs, but I think he's going to get a nice contract.
Absolutely.
He's going to be able to go wherever he wants. I think he's going to take the top dollar. That's why I don't think he'll be a Met, because if he would have give a discount to the Mets, then maybe, but I don't think he's going to take the top dollar.
Yeah. Now let's think about it too, though. For the Mets, what is the acquisition they need to make? Murphy gone, Cespedes gone. You're looking at this team. David Wright still playing third. Lucas Duda still over at first. Middle infield still kind of up in the air. Darno, the catcher, really seems to be a defensive liability, but his ability to hit out of the catcher position is so valuable. The outfield, old man Granderson, who couldn't have been any better this postseason. The young guns in Lagares and Conforto out there. The bullpen is really familiar, and then in my opinion, some question marks. Obviously, starting rotation is fine, solidified. Nothing needs to be changed there. Where do the acquisitions need to come from?
Two guys come to mind that I was just thinking over, and it's Ben Zobrist and Ian Desmond. And Zobrist comes to mind easily because he's able to play different positions. You can plug him right into second base, and if you want to bring up Dilson Herrera as well, keep him on the roster, you can put Ben Zobrist at third base when David Wright needs an off day, because we saw this in the postseason. He can't play every day.
He can even do short, Zobrist. Yeah. He can do everything.
Yeah.
Look, shortstop isn't his one, but he can do second, third, short, and he can give you outfield.
Yeah, exactly, and it just gives you a lot of options. And a guy like Ian Desmond, the Mets have been searching for their shortstop. They've been wanting to find a guy that they can just plug in. They'd be like, all right, I don't have to worry about him.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he's had some defensive issues, but no one questions his bat. He's a very good bat. And I think if you have him there and maybe above average bat at shortstop, you can keep Lagares in center field and have a good defensive outfield.
And I think too, what I think is very key, because I was talking to you about what's the deal with Lucas Duda. We look at this team and they really need a guy that's just gonna hit bombs. Maybe his average isn't the best, but it does just go up there, hit bombs, drive him in. He needs protection. I think Lucas Duda. I think he kind of needs to be in a position where he's getting up and people can't pitch around him. His eye is non-existent. He swings in the dirt constantly. But when there are pitches to hit, we've seen it. Lucas Duda can really get on a streak. Month of April, he's batting 320.
And then teams realize, hey,
yeah, and then teams were kind of like,
let's stop pitching to him.
We're not going to do that anymore. And then he kind of just had to wait for mistakes and put him over the fence. But I think Lucas Duda is a guy that can hit you 30-plus home runs. With the right batters in front of him, he might drive you in 100 RBIs and maybe hit 260. And that's really good. That's exactly what the Mets need. And I think Duda has the potential to be that player, but the protection in front of him needs to be the right guys. I think there's going to be a lot of eyes towards Michael Conforto. What can this kid be? Comes out game 2 of the NLDS. Home run against Greinke. Oh, this is our kid. Didn't get a hit for days. Comes out 2 home run game. Last night in the game clincher, another 2-hit game. Conforto looks like he might be the real deal. He's a good fielder, too. He seems to have the glove. So a lot of eyes are going to be turned towards him. Another guy who a lot of people are going to look at is David Wright. Will he be healthy? Can he contribute? To start off last season, David Wright was batting well over 300. It was a really small sample size, but David Wright looked very, very good. The injury did seem to linger a little bit. So let him get right, no pun intended, over the offseason. But I have to agree, there is not a better signing in the planet than Ben Zobrist for this ball club.
Yeah, exactly. And he would be a perfect fit on this team because, as you said, Wright, which just did not seem right in the playoffs. We saw like his new throwing motion that he needs to do to protect his back. There's just a lot of variables that go into that. And if you get a guy like Zobrist, it allows you to sit right every now and then, and it just helps out the ball club. And look at that. He has World Series experience. He's now won a World Series, and he could help out this team a lot.
Definitely a lot of question marks that are going to need to be answered over this offseason for the Mets, and we are going to give it to you here on WICR, covering all the time on Final Whistle. Kevin Walsh, David Giacomino. We'll see you guys next time.